All right, I'm going to go ahead and call this to order, our regularly scheduled meeting for June 30th, 2025. It's just a shade past 6, and we'll call it 6 o'clock. Thanks for coming out today. It's been a little while. And it's time to get back in and jump back into some things. So first, on the agenda is consideration of planning and zoning meetings from the meeting held on February 3rd, 2025. Entertain a motion on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Waive the reading.
Thank you. Motion.
All right.
Okay. All right. I have a motion to waive the reading. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you. Next is public comment. We do not have anybody in the house for public comment, so I'll move on to discussion and approval of fine structure for stop work orders. And just basically to explain this, Joey's been struggling a little bit out there and asked me if I would do this. As you are aware, not too long ago, we put out some stuff on stop work orders. We gave him the permission to do that. Actually, the council did, but this body did that too. The stop work order, did you get a copy of that? As to what that looked like? It's in your packet, isn't
Yeah,
it?
she said that even
Yeah, yeah, it should be in there. So, yes, this stop work order is what he uses. And what he uses it for is when he goes out, he finds a contractor working, the contractor does not have a permit for the job, those type of things. He can stop the work with a stop work order until they fix the situation. Typically, he doesn't have to use it. Typically, he just asks them to go take care of it. The work just keeps going on, and then the guy will run down and he'll pay the permit fee and things like that. What happens though generally is people with no bite in that, no fine or nothing, there's nothing, they can just go out there and do it. So if somebody comes and stops them, then they'll go pay. And he said, Gary, it's becoming repetitious with several contractors. We are a little behind on this. Most cities have a fine structure for stop work orders. For example, most of them are on first offense, or when they get caught, it's double the permit fee. And then second time they're caught, they double it or they triple it. Next time they quadruple it. Typically, like Beckley, they don't have to deal with that because they don't get to triple most of the time. They're going to go ahead and make that payment and get on board with it. So the structure that I'm asking for is first offense is the warning. He's going to do that anytime anyway. He's going to warn them anyway and just say, hey, you need to go down and pay. And it becomes an education at that point, and just saying, hey, just so you know, in the future, the next time it will be your permit fee will be double. And some people may need to know what that permit structure is. If it's $5,000 or less, the fee is $12.50. That's what a building permit costs, is $12.50. So when we say double it, something that's $5,000, it would be $25 opposed to $12.50. Now there is over $5,000 in residential. It's $2.50 per $100, and then in commercial it jumps to $3 per $100. So that's how they figure out anything over $5,000.
So your first 5,000 is 1,250 regardless?
Yes. Okay. So basically what he's asking me is if we could set in the ordinances, or if we could give him the right to do something. And he did not have any feeling on it one way or the other. He likes that double structure, triple structure, that kind of thing. But he's willing to take anything at this point. I mean, just something to give him a little bit of teeth that says, hey, you gotta get that permit.
Are these,
Any thoughts?
are these contractors, is it very repetitious with them, or is it, oh, is it?
Yeah, different, he says it's very repetitious with certain ones. Yeah. Now, there's, the majority are doing it right. You know, they come in, they get the permit, and then they go do their thing.
Local contractors or more out-of-town contractors?
Both. You're out of town, a lot of them will just say, we didn't know you had to do that, we didn't do that, we don't do that, and they just come in. But a lot of the out-of-towners are not multiple job type of it. They're jobs that they may only do one every 2 or 3 years in the area of Summersville. You know, they may only do one. But when they do enter, they have to have a business license, and we go through all that. But what I find out, a lot of folks from outside the area, when I say out, way out, like I'm looking to remodel a bathroom, and somebody told me that, you know, hey, you should look into this person. He covers this big region. You know, those people, oftentimes when they come in and do a job, typically I'm, you know, closing their account out after a year because they're no longer doing business in the area. They just don't do enough business in our area. They may come in and do 1 job or 2 jobs or something like that. But most of your local people are pretty on spot, but there are a few that, and he says it's the same few. Opening it up. What do you guys think?
So are you looking for us to approve what you have before us right now?
Yeah, I would like to get approval from this commission to do that.
To that.
What's
On this, it's how it say, on the second offense, you pay the permit plus the penalty.
Yes, yeah.
But have it broken down so they'll know this is half of it. The first half of it is the permit, the other half is the fine.
Correct. So you're saying double, both of them, double?
No, just go the first time, just like I'll say, you're paying, say the fee is $50.
Uh-huh.
The fine's $50.
Mhm.
The next time the fee is $50, the fine's $100. Next time the fee's $50 times $200.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're getting the fee and the fine.
Separate.
Yes, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think that's what you say they'll know.
Yeah.
Just 'cause you're not triple permit, you're getting the fine.
Yes, that's
The
true.
fee- The fee staying the same, but.
Fee
half
stays the
fine
same,
each one.
fine is just the fee. I think that gives it a lot of teeth, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's a great
You're
idea.
going to get a penalty if you don't do it.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
No, there's not any different levels of permit? I mean, depending on the size of the job, like someone's coming in gonna build a room as opposed to,
Yeah, it's by dollar amount. Is that what you mean?
yeah,
Like, if I'm your contractor and come in and the job's $5,000, you're gonna pay that $12.50. That's the permit. But if it's $10,000, then there's some calculations involved where it's $2.50 per 100, and they have to calculate all that kind of stuff in.
Or should you just go to a $50 fee, $100 fee, $100, then a $200 fee?
Absolutely, that's an option.
And make it, then because $12.50 is nothing.
Yeah, that's an option. I mean, that's an option. I mean, that's out on the table. We can kind of do what we want to do. I will have to send it to council since it is revenue, I would think. I would think the council needs to sign up on something like this too, but it'll be coming from our commission.
I was gonna say, you can do first offense is warning plus, pay your fee. And then second offense could be pay your fee plus have a fine that we could set, like you said, $100, $200, whatever.
Totally open. Totally open. won't hurt my feelings either way. I just felt I need to give you some idea, but you
I
can,
think that if you give them like a $50 penalty fine, they're more likely to come in and do it than they are for $12.
oh, I think so too, yeah. There's no doubt.
Now, does this first offense just relate to that particular permit?
Yes, like, the first offense would be him just stepping up and finding the contractors
After
on the
he's
job.
warned, after he's warned.
Oh, after he warns him. So yeah, after you warn him, we're saying the first time was gonna be pass. He still has to come in and pay his permit fees, but it's kind of a pass on the fine. That was based on what I was saying, but I'm open to any of it. So you can say, hey,
I think you got to give them at least one warning.
I do too. And that's what I told Joey. I said, in the past, this body and the council body, I think, appreciates the warning. So they like to give the warning. It's an education, you know, hey.
But if
I think
they're,
their question was, say, that as a contractor, I go to his house, I don't come and you give me a warning. I go to your house, you give me a warning. I go to his house, you give me a warning. Is it gonna be a penalty on the second time I've had an offense, or second time on that one job?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I guess what I was getting.
So you can go either way. My deal was basically, first time caught, you're gonna get the warning on the penalty, but you have to pay your fee. And the second time you get caught, it's double.
but isn't,
What, the second time, you mean,
Second time he comes out and works without a permit.
this is a different permit?
Different place.
Yes, on a
Different
different
permit.
place. On
Different
different,
permit.
yes, yes.
So you're gonna have to keep track of that?
Yes, absolutely, yes. He has to keep track of that, which is not difficult.
But isn't the permit the responsibility of the owner? I mean, if I hire a contractor to work on a job, then I should have to file for the permit and just put down the contractor's name.
Yeah, it should, but either way, somebody, the job's gonna be stopped, whether it's the owner's fault or the contractor's fault.
Right.
So it's gonna be stopped. So, yes, I've seen it done all different
I've
ways.
actually been through this before where I've had one contractor at my house that asked me to go get a work permit.
Uh-huh,
And I come down and get it, and then occasionally I've had a contractor, and he takes care of all that.
yeah,
So if the contractor asks the homeowner to come get the permit, and the homeowner doesn't,
It's
even
on
though it
there.
gets stopped, is it really the contractor's fault? The if he asked, the homeowner was supposed to come.
my
Yeah,
last.
who's the responsible party?
Yes, my last three contractors, all three have said there is a permit fee. Would you like to get that, or would you like us to get that? Because then they just add that into their bid, or whatever.
But that's where that warning comes in too. I mean, if you did the warning every time, then, you know, if he goes out and a contractor says, oh, I'm sorry, I thought the homeowner was going to get it, we'll go get it right now.
And you hear that a lot. You hear that a lot. And I don't know, I'll have to research and
Yeah,
see.
because I think.
Is it on the
you
owner,
can't get-
or is
You
it-
can't get the guy on 3 or 4 jobs, that it's the 3 different jobs that should have been the homeowner got the permit.
right,
Yeah.
I think a homeowner does have a responsibility.
So I think you gotta do this warning thing here. I'm not sure you could do that if he worked on Lincoln Street and then he moved over to whatever street, whatever. That's not really 3 violations to the contractor, that's 3 separate violations to the homeowner.
Mhm.
I mean, that would have to be defined.
Yes.
Well, in our ordinance, where you have this, how's it written up in it?
That's what I said, I'm gonna have to research the ordinance and see,
Is it-
is it the landowner or is it the contractor? I mean, I'll have to look at that.
It's probably written in that, who's
Yeah.
responsible for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm looking
No,
at.
it's a good
Other
point.
than that, I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it's a good point.
We've looked at that before, sometime long ago, and I don't know that it's actually
I don't know, it's defined.
defined as whether the homeowner or the contractor, it's basically just the job. If there is a job, there
Yeah.
has to be a permit on that job, and that's why sometimes contractor gets it, sometimes a homeowner. I don't know if it's defined exactly.
I don't think it
See, the
is.
contractor would have to be licensed, that would be his responsibility to be, have a city license.
Have a business license, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be their responsibility. But to me, the building permit should be the landowner, the homeowner, the whatever.
I need to look at it. I don't feel it's defined in there, but I'll find out for sure.
I don't know if it says who's responsible.
Yeah, that's what I'm
for
saying.
the
Yeah.
Building permit.
I think if you get the homeowner involved in it, make him responsible, then, you know, he goes down to get a permit, and he doesn't know anything about what license category or what, what's required, you know, other than the permit.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know that he can fill it all out.
Yeah, my feeling on it is most homeowners do not know that they're responsible for that permit.
Right.
Whereas the people doing the work,
They know.
we need to educate them somehow and make sure. Now, maybe they'll educate them based on the fact that they don't want their job stopped. You know, hey, we gotta have a permit, you know, do you wanna get that or do you want me to get that?
What I'm saying is, by looking at the permit, the information that's required, the property owner oftentimes does not have enough information to fill it out. It's not as simple as just, you know, paying the fee.
True.
Yeah, a lot of times, just like whenever I came in, they asked me what the job cost was. And, I mean, the whole permit, after $5,000 based off of that, and I said, I don't know, they haven't told me exactly what the cost will be.
Yeah,
So,
you get that too.
I mean, to be able to give an exact amount so that you can figure out a building permit. And a lot of times the homeowner doesn't know that until a contractor gets started and gives them an
Right.
exact
Maybe gets it
plan
done.
bill and what it is.
I would think the majority of the contractors know
Yeah,
they gotta get it.
yeah.
Majority of the homeowners have no
They
clue,
do not know.
especially if it's a new project and they've not been doing any improvements.
And they don't have enough information to fill it out, the building
Right.
permit out.
Correct. So what I need to do is I'll get clarification on, is it the homeowner or is it the contractor? And then we'll have to go from that spot, right? I mean, I don't know if you can redo an ordinance and say, hey, let me put it on the contractor. I don't know. I mean, I guess we could, but I'll look into that because I
Well,
think
you
I've
know-
always thought it was the homeowner too, but the ones that come to me, those contractors, they know. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
they ask me, they say, do you wanna pay for that, do you wanna handle the permit, or do you want me to? You know, so,
They know.
but I don't think most of the homeowners don't,
Oh, I agree.
most of the homeowners don't.
And really, you know, you're asking for the contractor license too number and all that kind of stuff too, that homeowner, unless the contractor gives it to him, he doesn't know.
Yeah,
I mean, you
yeah,
know, the problem is that homeowner doesn't know enough.
well, your contractor should get it back either way, I mean, he just adds that into his,
See, I'm not talking about the price, I'm just talking about the information required for the
Sure.
permit.
and it's all on there, you have to ask all those questions.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Is the contractor permit, annually or is it a one-time fee?
Contractor permit per job, it's per job. The business license itself is an annual. So like for you to do business in the city, we're gonna
Yeah.
charge you that $15.50 a year or whatever that is, to operate.
The
in
building permit is per location.
Yeah, per job.
Yeah, I know that, but I just wonder about a contractor. I wonder how many of them are licensed that are operating here in the city.
However, I will say this, when those guys submit for their business license, they pretty much all put their credentials with them, you know, what credentials they have. And then, of course, that permit, just so you know, that permit goes through our code official, because he's gonna wanna see plans and things of that nature, that he's qualified to answer those, a lot more than I would be. So that goes through him first, and it's approved through the code official, and then he gets it at that point. If he approves it. And typically, they're pretty solid. Every once in a while, you'll get one that's, you know, Joey has to say, you have to do something a little bit different, but for the most part, they all have it pretty
Well,
well.
they probably know.
Yeah, they probably know.
But like if you're building a house, you might have 4 contractors working on one house.
Sure.
So you
Well-
just get, you don't get, but if you won't get 4 permits, you'll just get 1.
Take the, place up at Northside, you know, where they built the, help me, it's
The nursing
changed,
home?
yeah, but it's changed names, so, but the nursing home that they built up there.
Summersville Medical Center.
Yeah,
Something's
yeah.
what it's called.
So what you had was you had a main contractor, and then you had a lot of subbing going on. And, you know, that took a lot of following, if you will,
I'll bet.
because the subs were responsible, so they had to follow into that. Typically
That
though,
was for their B and O.
Yes,
But
that-
there was only still one building permit.
yes, one building permit, yeah, I missed that, one building permit, and then the B and O was charged on each job, is how that went.
The main
Building
con-
permit was just done
The main
once.
contractor had to pay the B and O on
Yes.
the total job, then each contractor had to pay their part.
Correct.
The subs.
The
Correct,
subs, yeah.
yes, yeah. And, you know, we really at times struggled with that. The way we could follow it was the business that personally made the checks out to certain individuals, gave us the list and the dollar amounts they sent checks to them for. That's how we were able to follow that. So the main owner let us know what business or what contractor did what and what the dollar amount was. And that's what they wrote the check to them for.
You don't routinely go look at how much was actually paid, it's just kind of an honor system.
We don't, yeah, we haven't audited something like that.
That's what I mean, it's kind of,
Mhm. I mean, we can, but I haven't made a habit of doing that. And I don't think anybody before me has either. So let's do this, just for time's sake. We'll table this, and then
So
I,
before we can pass anything, I think we'll
Yes,
have to
yes.
determine
yeah,
whose
good.
responsibility it is.
Yes.
before we can-
Yes, and we may have to make a change if we want to make a change. We may, if it is the homeowner, then, you know, we may want to make a change to put it to the contractor or leave it the same as homeowner. I just hate to see jobs shut down because somebody didn't pay something. And I know the homeowners, for the most part, do not understand that. They don't know that they think the contractor does all that. So let's table this, and then I'll get the exact answer on, is it homeowner, is it contractor? And then we can go from there, and then whether or not you want to put a $50 fine, $100 fine, $200 fine, whatever structure you want on that, and then I'll present. Is that fair?
Do they have to come here? Is this something when Joey catches them out there, he can just write them a permit and they pay him?
Yeah, he doesn't accept any payment, you know. They typically will just come in and pay, but he does not collect at all.
probably better to
Yeah.
keep that separate.
I think so. I think so. I don't think Joey, I think Joey would say he wouldn't want to take money anyway. Now, he has the paperwork, you know, he can hand them the paperwork and say, hey, just fill this out and have it ready, and it'll only take you a couple minutes when you get there, you know? So he can give them all that, and they're prepared when they get here, but, yeah, he doesn't collect anything.
I will move the table.
Yes, let's table it.
So-
Okay.
so-
Good deal. Appreciate that. Okay, next is, we back to the regular meetings every month, and to do so, we don't always have new things and new information that's lingering out there that we need to address. So what I did was I put together, I just had them print some ordinances off. I know it is a desire of the mayor to continue to work in the ordinances and correct anything in there that may need corrected. I skipped clear over to 1329.01. It's probably where we would start, somewhere in there. And I believe that our meetings will go, and I think what we do is we just say we're gonna have 45-minute meetings or whatever, 45 minutes to an hour, and we'll make them work sessions, just looking through those. You can move ahead at home on these if you wanna look them over. And then when we get into the meeting, we'll just go down through these and see if there's anything that we feel needs to be changed or edited or redone. And then if something comes up and you have something that you would like to address, that will certainly take precedence over this, and we'll continue on. And if you have anything that you would like to discuss as a planning and zoning meeting, please let me know, and I'll put it on the agenda and we can discuss those things.
Which one do you want to start with, you said?
I just looked at it, I think we'd probably go clear down into 1329.01 and just start right in that area and then, work from there on down. We have worked a little bit in this, we've already made, some adjustments. Most of it was just typical wording, but, we may want to address some things. And there's some things that come up that, typically we probably should address.
So when Amy lets us know, is she gonna?
Yeah, she'll let you
Set
know.
us a starting point or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I think we set it at a time frame. I don't think I say, let's go from 1329 to whatever. We'll start at 1329.01 and we'll set a 45-minute deal or whatever, allowing for early business, whether it be public comment or approval of minutes and things like that. And then let's try to keep those meetings, I don't want them over an hour. We'll just work from 45 minutes to an hour and we'll call it a day. And then just work through them. Fair enough?
Sounds good.
I would like to do it the Monday between our council meetings if I can. However, the next Monday that falls on is Fair Week, and I'd kind of like to leave that one open, so I asked her to send you something on the Thursday before that Fair Week. I know some of us have to go up and help them with the fair as far as tickets and stuff like that, so she'll send that out pretty soon. She probably might do it tomorrow, just so you can put it on your calendars. Okay. Any questions? None? Is there anything that you know that planning and zoning should be addressing right now?
I'll do some thinking about it.
Yeah, do some thinking about that.
I
Yeah,
could do that.
I would love to hear of some things that, we can make the city better and just figure out what those things are and we can help them. Okay. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Thank you. All in favor? Thank you.